you have taken lots of my classes, you know that I like to try to bring in what's happening into the world and try to then use that to think, well, or use yoga to help us to deal with what's happening in the world. So we're going to talk a little bit today. I've picked a topic which is called in Sanskrit pratipaksa bhavana. So it's a bit of a mouthful. I'll repeat it. Pratipaksa bhavana. And it means, pratipaksa means opposite, and bhavana means cultivating. So it's about cultivating the opposite. So it has a couple of meanings or ways that we can interpret it. The first one is looking at our thoughts, right? When we're on the mat and we're off the mat, we get into certain patterns and certain thoughts that we have on a regular basis, right? They are just thoughts, right? We can alter those thoughts by changing, by coming up with alternative views and alternative things and thinking about them instead. So for example, if we are very critical of ourselves and say, for example, on the mat, we're in a particular posture and we're like, oh, I can't do this, or I suck, or I'm really inflexible, right? And we give ourselves a hard time. We can actually start to practice the cultivating of the opposite, right? By saying, I'm trying, I'm working on this, I'm taking this step by step, right? And we can also show evidence where actually there might be other poses where we're actually quite able to do them, and it just depends on the pose, right? So it helps us to change the way that we think about ourselves and the way that we approach different things in life, right? So if we're self-critical, we can then bring in more ideas of compassion or more sentiment of compassion towards ourselves. Again, if we're really depressed and fed up or we're having a difficult day, we can bring in ideas, we can bring in thoughts about gratitude, and we can think about what is it that we're really grateful for. And that's another example of practicing pratipaksa bhavana, right? Cultivating the opposite to help us move our minds in different ways. So in a similar way, we can use this principle for looking at the other side of a story, right? There's always multiple sides of a story. So what we need to do is we recognize that our thoughts and beliefs are really based on the way that we were raised. So it could be societal influences, right? The media that we see, whether it's TV, whether it's internet, it's the schooling, right? Maybe it's our religion. Whatever it is, these things have helped to mold who we are and the beliefs that we hold, right? Maybe it's how we were parented. Maybe it's our life experiences, right? But part of pratipaksa bhavana is recognizing that these things limit the way that we see the world, right? And it's not necessarily the way that everybody sees and experiences the world. So this principle is about listening to other people's perspectives. It's not dismissing other people's experiences. So it's really listening. It's not just pretending to listen. It's really just allowing other people's experiences to come your way without making any assumptions, without judging them, right, or their experiences, without interpreting those experiences, or without bringing our own experiences into the mix, right? So this is really useful, obviously, in what's going on in the world at the moment, particularly in the US, with all the protests, all the frustration, all the anger that's going on. What is happening? Can we let go of our worldview and just allow ourselves to understand from other perspectives? So part of yoga is recognizing that we live in a world of stories in our minds, right? These are narratives. They shape our views of ourselves. They shape our views of the world, right? But if we use pratipaksa bhavana, we can allow some of that to let go. We can release that and recognize that's just one view and there are other perspectives. Can we welcome those in? So we're going to play with this a little bit in our yoga class today, and I'll talk through how we're going to do that as we go along. We're going to start by actually coming into a child's pose. So you can just find yourself with your heels coming towards your, with your butt coming towards your heels. Knees can open quite a bit to give some space for your belly and for your breath. And just bringing your arms forward, allowing your head to rest on the ground. If it doesn't go there, right, you can always use something underneath your forehead. And likewise, if your butt doesn't get to your heels, it doesn't matter. You're just going down to wherever it gets to. You can always use a cushion between your thighs and your shins. So once you're there, really just feel the pose. So experience this. How is this feeling for you? Can you release? Can you let go? Allow your belly just to come down towards the ground. Feel every part of your body that is touching the ground. And bring yourself into this present moment. So you might just notice any sounds around you, any sounds further away. You might check in with your own body. So what kind of stories or narratives are in your mind at this moment? And it's not so easy to say just let them go. Just notice them, and you can always try to see if you can counter that story, particularly if it's negative or if it's not constructive. If it's constructive, absolutely keep that thought, but maybe see if you can just bring your attention instead of to your thoughts, to your breath. So we're just going to work with the breath, breathing deeply, and seeing if we can expand so that the diaphragm is expanding with the expansion of the belly, so that the chest is expanding, so the side body is expanding, and also the back. So breathing here, feeling the expansion through all sides of the upper body. Two more deep breaths here, creating the longest, deepest breaths that you can in the moment. So it's really about lengthening the breath, breathing through the nose, and just fully expanding as much as you can in all directions. And then when you're ready, you can just creep your fingers forward a little bit, getting a little bit more length. And just pausing where you are, continuing with your breath. Deep inhales and deep exhales. And then you're going to walk your hands out to the right side a little bit, just making a diagonal. You'll lift your head up a little bit and just find length through your left side. You can drop your head down again if that feels good. And then walking your hands back through center and over to the left side. Really feeling that length through the right side of the body. And then coming back through center, you're just going to come up. You're going to turn your fingertips in towards your knees. And we're going to do some lion's breath. It's really heavy what's going on in the world. There's a lot happening. We're just going to let some of that frustration, some of that fear, some of the concern, whatever it is, that upset, that sadness, we're going to let it out with the exhale as you stick your tongue out with lion's breath. As you inhale, you're looking at the point between your eyebrows, the third eye, center, and then as you exhale, you're continuing to look there, but you stick your tongue out. So taking a deep inhale in together, and exhaling, you can make a sound if you like. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, mouth. Don't be afraid to let it out. Inhale. Exhale. Excellent. Hands come back, fingers facing the front. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, just rounding through the back. You can come up with a few cat-cows here with your breath. Inhaling, looking up. Exhale, rounding here. Again, last one. Coming into center. Right leg comes back. Inhaling here. Exhale, rounding through the back. Knee comes in towards the nose. And we're stepping the foot forward here. Pressing the hips forward. Inhale, reaching the arms all the way up. You can touch the hands together. Move them back behind your ears or in that direction just for a moment. Taking a breath. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Opening up to the right side on the inhale. Now you might want to tuck your toes here. We're going to maybe see if you can move your hand down towards that heel. It may not get there, just stay where you were, that's absolutely fine. So bringing the hand down to the foot, you might have to lean back a little bit further. And then finding a little nice back bend and a twist here. So breathing. Checking in, maybe you feel, oh, I don't like this pose. See if there's something you like about it, right? It's about changing that dialogue. Inhale, calming on up. Exhale, bringing hands back to heart center. We're going to twist the other way. Inhaling, opening up. You can stay here, absolutely, or you can tuck the toes at the back. Again, we're going to try and bring that hand down towards that foot. And once it gets there, we're going to lean back, finding that chest opener. And a little twist. Inhaling, calming on up. Hands coming to heart center. Exhaling here. We're going to straighten through that front leg here. The right hip coming back behind us. So we're kind of essentially, we're almost twisting a little bit towards the right side. Inhale, arms are coming up, toes are coming up towards your body. Exhale, leaning forward. Arms are going to come up behind you, fingers up. Just leaning forward, breathing, taking a couple of breaths here. Again, just watching what's happening to your thoughts, particularly when we stay in a pose for a little while. What is your thoughts saying? Are they constructive? If they are not, use this principle of cultivating opposites. What can you say to counter it? It's not lying, it's just practicing, looking at things from another perspective. Inhale, calming on up, bending through that front knee, hands come down on either side of that back foot. Oh, sorry, the front foot. Okay, good, sorry, getting confused. Hands are down. Right arm is going to come up, so we're twisting again here. Now you can play here. I'm on the top of my foot here. So it's a slightly different twist, or different working different muscles here. So notice it might be really uncomfortable. Just observe. You can always bring your knee down. Dropping that knee. Hand is going to come on the inside of that foot. You can come down onto a block. You can come down onto the ground. Whatever works for you. Your knee, your right knee is going to squeeze into midline. So you're squeezing it in. You're not just kind of letting it hang. Squeezing it in. Now again, you can play here. You can maybe lift up on that back knee and being on the top of the back foot. It might be uncomfortable again, just notice how it feels. Now, of course, if you've got any pain, you always listen to that pain and you back off. Don't do it. You don't want to hurt your body. Okay? But if there's discomfort, whether in the body or the mind, see if you can play with that, whether you can sit with it, whether you can work through that. And breathe. Looking at things from other perspectives can be uncomfortable, right? But we sit with it, we invite it in anyway. Knee comes back down, calming on up, working the front foot over to the left side. We're going to come into a pigeon pose. So you're trying to even the hips out. So quite often we end up sinking into the right side, making sure we're lifting up, even if that means we're off the ground a little bit more. I really like having the knee out to one side. So for a lot of people, it's easier to bring the knee forward and the hip doesn't come out. The hip doesn't open as much. So if you can just bring that knee a little bit to the right side, it really helps with this pose, or it gives it a different kind of stretch. So just noticing and observing. And again, maybe you dislike this pose, but find something about it that maybe helps you to see the opposite, cultivate the opposite. Now, bending through that back knee. You can bring that foot in, and you may be able to reach it, you may not. Maybe you just let it hang here, that's absolutely fine. Or maybe this pose isn't for you, that's okay. But maybe if you've got it, just squeezing it towards your body. Deep breaths. And releasing the leg, you can come down into a reclined pigeon pose. See if you can release the shoulders away from the ears. And maybe make some circles with your jaw. So that you're just releasing through the jaw, any tension in the jaw. And bring your attention to 3 deep breaths here. When you are done, slowly making your way back up into a tabletop. Fingers spread wide, knees pressing into the ground, the tops of the feet pressing into the ground. You can lift up through your knees here to work the core, or you can move your legs back, also on the top of the feet, coming into a plank variation. Just notice, how does this, just changing whether you're on your toes or on the tops of your feet, how does it change the pose that you are in? What perspective does it change about that pose? And the knees can come down. Going to tuck the toes. For a moment, we'll come into the first downward dog. And just, you can bend your knees a lot, finding length through your arms, pressing the heels down, finding length through the top part of your body. And then straightening the legs any amount, but no need to have completely straight legs here. It really doesn't matter. It's the length through the back you're looking for. And then knees are going to come back down. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, rounding through the back. Inhale, up. Exhale, rounding. Last time, looking up, really warming up the spine. Exhale, rounding. Calming into neutral. Left leg comes back. Inhaling here. Exhale, rounding through the back, knee towards nose, and stepping it forward here. Arms reach out to the side and all the way up. Maybe bringing the arms back behind the ears if they go that direction. Breathing. And then we're going to open up to the left side here. You can stay here or you can tuck the back toes. You can bring that left hand back towards the heels. It's not always easy. Then you inhale, lengthening up. And see if you can find a nice back bend here and a twist. Taking a couple of deep breaths. Notice where it feels good. Notice where it feels challenging. Inhale. Calming back up. Hands to heart center. Other side. Inhale, opening up. Staying here. Or you can come back down towards that heel. Reaching up first and finding that back bend. Lovely. Inhale, calming back up and back to heart center. We're going to lengthen through that front leg, maybe putting the back leg down. We're going to twist almost a little bit, the hips twist to the left. Inhale, reaching the arms up. And exhale, bringing arms back. Fingertips up and back. And breathing here. You might come folded a lot further forward. You might find that you can't fold forward at all. Just listening to your body. Trying to release your mind of judgments though. It's just where you are. It's not that there's a right way or a wrong way. It's just your experience. Everybody's experience is different. Taking a deep breath. Inhale, calming back up, rebending through that front knee. And then the right arm is going to come down. Left arm lifting, so a nice twist here. You can stay here, absolutely. Or if you'd like, you can play with lifting through that back knee with the foot, the top of the foot down. Breathing. Checking in with what your thoughts are. Are they constructive? Do you need to cultivate the opposite? What would that look like? Knee comes down. Hand comes down on the inside of that foot. And we're going to then bring ourselves down onto something or onto the ground. Again, we can stay here. This might be perfectly enough. That left knee is squeezing into towards the body for everybody. And then we can see if we want to lift up through that back knee. No requirements here. Maybe your mind is saying, I have to do this. This is required. Otherwise, I'm not worthy or I'm not good enough. But it doesn't. That is not a real, true, fair, there's other opinions about that. So allow it to let go and do what your body needs, not what you think it needs. Taking a deep breath, releasing through that back knee if it's up, and then we're going to work with coming into pigeon. Bringing that foot over to the side, squaring off those hips. Maybe bending through that back knee. And this might be where you get to, maybe you just lift the foot off the ground. That's all fine. Different expressions, all valid. So you're going to take that foot, bring it in towards your butt, if it goes there. Right? Just remembering each individual experience is different. Breathing. And releasing. Calming down into that reclined pose. Letting shoulders relax away from the ears. Maybe moving the jaw in a few circles to release any tension there. And taking 3 deep, slow breaths. And when you're done, we're going to slowly come out of this. Coming onto the hands and knees. Again, you can lift through the knees. And maybe your feet are just the tops of your feet, or whatever is too much, you can always tuck the toes. Or you can bring your feet back, lifting up. Again, you can always tuck the toes. Spreading the fingers wide, pressing down with all parts of the hands. And then knees come down for everybody. Tucking the toes, coming back, downward facing dog. Finding your pose, that length, really pressing with every part of your hand or the knuckles down towards the ground, particularly between your thumbs and your index fingers. Press down deeply there. You're going to bring your right leg up behind you, lengthening out, and then bend that knee, opening the hip. Now you may stay here. This might be plenty. Or you can turn on the ball of your left foot, bringing the right toes just gently down, pressing the hips up to the sky. And this might be where you go. You might otherwise play with lifting through that right knee or that right leg. Lots of different steps. It's not about getting to a particular point. It's just pushing to your edge, whatever that might be. Calming back. Downward facing dog. Left leg calming up, stretching, getting long. Bending through the knee, opening through that hip. Again, this might be perfectly enough. And this is a challenging pose to stick with. So listen to yourself. Or you can turn on that right ball of the foot. The left toe is just gently coming to the ground. Left arm maybe coming up. Or you might prefer bringing it overhead. Your choice. Playing, listening. And maybe bringing up that left leg. Coming back, downward facing dog. Three deep breaths here. Now we're going to bend the knees a lot, looking forward between the hands. And you can play with just hopping, trying to kick your butt with your feet, or you can just walk your hands up to your hand, your legs up to your hands. Just maybe 3 or 4 kicks to the butt if that's doable. And then just jumping towards the hands and folding forward, grabbing behind the shins, pulling your chest in towards your legs, lifting the sits bones up, but you can still remain with knees bent as much as need be. And breathing here. Inhale, arms come out to either side and all the way up. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Deep inhale through the nose, you can close your eyes. Exhaling out through the mouth. Ha. Inhale nose. Exhale mouth, you can stick your tongue out if you like. Ha. One more time. Inhale nose. Exhaling mouth. Ha. And opening the eyes. We're going to come into an eagle pose. So the arms are going to come out to the side. We're going to start with the right leg being your anchor. So bringing the left foot up to a kickstand. Now this might be where you stay, where you're kickstanded here, or you might feel you need a wall for a bit of stability. That's all fine. Otherwise, you can also try and twist that leg around the standing leg. So it's the right that's standing, left is twisting. Then we bring the right arm over the left. So again, you can have you can just give yourself a hug, lifting through the elbows and pressing them away from you. Or you can bring the arms up here, pressing elbows away, fingers up to the sky. So playing with that pose. And then you can come down any amount if you like, so squeezing everything into midline, really hugging everything in. Squeezing, you might stop here, or you might find that you're going to want to bend forward. Breathing here. Slowly bringing yourself up, unraveling through the legs, lifting that left leg back, and maybe coming into a small back bend here. Whether you've got, however you have your arms, you can just lift them up. Inhale, calming slowly back up to center. Releasing through the arms. Notice how they feel. Interlacing fingers behind you. Really pressing that back heel away from you as though it's pressing into a wall behind you. Also, arms pressed down and back. And then folding forward. So you can come chest to thigh, or you can bring right shoulder on the inside of the right leg. Your choice. Breathing here. Arms coming up overhead. If you've got tighter shoulders, they're going to have a harder time getting up, and that's okay. Just watching, observing, and noticing. Releasing through the hands, bringing them on either side of the front foot. We're going to come into standing splits. Now, the first thing that comes into my head is I really hate this pose, right? Okay, so we have these inbuilt ideas, or these things that we have within us from experience or whatever it might be. So seeing if I can change the dialogue, if I can cultivate the opposite, and find something that I really like about it. So lifting up that back foot. So you're balancing on the right leg. Maybe you can find it as a balancing pose. So I love to balance. So maybe I can find something else that really takes me in this pose. Maybe you have your hands down, and that's okay. Maybe you've got more flexibility in the hips. And then we're going to bring the knee squatting behind that left leg. Lifting up. Exhaling. Knee coming down. One more time. Inhaling up. Exhaling. Coming down. Hands come down. If they're up, foot comes back. Inhaling. Reaching all the way up. Noticing where you feel the challenges. What has been working really hard. And then we're going to turn to the side. So the back foot is going to come out. I'm just going to turn so you can see me. And just the arms are going to come up. Warrior pose. Deep breaths. Maybe sitting down just a little bit more. And the right arm's going to come down, reaching over to the left. Calming on up. Left arm down, reaching right. Calming on up. And legs straighten here. Hands to the hips. Thumbs towards each other. Elbows squeeze in to open the chest. Maybe a little back bend here as you push the hips forward. And then exhale, keeping that chest openness as we fold forward, bringing the weight forward in the feet, maybe bringing the toes in towards each other so you're pigeon-toeing a little bit. And then hands come down to the ground. Exhaling, maybe finding a forward fold. Here you might bring your hands to your ankles and just try to fold down to the ground. You can always bring something or under your head to help you fold in this moment. Taking a breath here. Hands come under the head, straightening the arms. Right arm is going to come up in a twist, left hand down. And we can then bring our hand over to that right side and twist. Finding different perspectives, even when we're upside down. Noticing how your room looks different or your garden looks different from this perspective. Hands come down. Right hand down under your face. Left hand on the lower back or up towards the ceiling or sky. Twisting here. And then the right hand coming over to that left leg if that feels good, or in that direction, getting a slightly deeper twist if that's what your body would like. And then the hands come back down, fold forward one more time. And then coming back up, arms out to the sides, slowly finding your way up, hands to the hips. And we're going towards the right leg, right? I've just turned around. So we're just coming back, warrior two legs here, turning all the way forward, lifting up through that left leg, squeezing it in, getting length through the back, and release. Palms come out to the sides, closing your eyes, Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, nose. Exhaling, mouth. You can stick your tongue out if you like. Inhale, nose. Exhale, mouth. Last time. Excellent. This time you've got your left leg as your anchor. Right foot can come up. You can just cross the foot over. Arms are coming out. And then if you want, you can wrap that lifted leg around the other one. And this time it's the left arm that comes over the right, giving yourself a really nice hug for everybody, right? There's a lot to deal with at the moment. Giving yourself a hug, and then bringing the arms up if you want to, if it works for you. Pressing the elbows out, fingers up. And then maybe coming down, finding stability. And remembering if you're wobbling or you can't do it, cultivate the opposite. Doesn't mean that it means you suddenly can do it. It's just being kind and compassionate and thoughtful, finding something constructive to say, that you're sticking with it, that you're taking steps, that you're practicing every day, whatever that might be. Breathing, finding patience, finding kindness. Inhale, calming on up, unraveling through the legs, lifting up through that right leg, stepping it back behind you, lengthening through that back leg, heel as though it's pushing into something behind you. And then you can lift up the arms, finding a really nice back bend here. Inhale, coming up, releasing through the arms, hands pointing forward, just noticing that looseness in your shoulders. Great. Interlacing the hands, a different thumb on top, it feels a bit unusual. You're going to press the hands down and back as you press that back heel away from you. Opening through the chest. And exhale, folding forward, lifting through those arms, trying to find that balance. It's not so easy. On the inside of the leg, or bring your chest down towards the thigh. One more breath here, checking in with your thoughts. What's happening in there? Anything that needs to be cultivated there, go for it. Releasing the hands, bringing them to the ground. Lifting up through that other leg. I love this pose now, right? It doesn't, even if it's not true, if I keep telling myself something, it may change the way I look at it. You can keep your hands on the ground or you can play with balance. Exhale, knee coming in. Shiva squat. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, bring it in. And one more time. There we go. Hands come down, stepping that foot back. Inhale, calming all the way up. And we're going to open up to the side. So I'm going to come forward again. Toes coming in, arms up. In fact, sorry, here we want toes coming out. We're going to actually do another eagle arms with eagle with the arms. So we're going to bring this time the right over left, pressing out, fingers up, and folding forward this time, calming down. Breathing here. Inhale, coming up, releasing the arms, reaching up. Other side, left over right. This time, pressing out and up, and then bending here. Folding down. Inhale, coming all the way up. Before we release, lifting legs, the heels rather, placing them down, reaching all the way up. Nice. Toes now coming in, heels coming out, arms reaching out to the sides. Exhale, folding. This time we're going directly left hand towards right foot, right heel, right ankle, whatever works. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, coming the other direction. Inhale, we'll do it one more time each side, reaching up. Exhale, other direction. Inhale and exhale, twisting here. Calming up through center. Excellent. Arms reach out, bending into a warrior two, turning onto the back, ball of the foot, squaring the hips off to the front. And we're going to step the right foot up, finding that balance, squeezing it in, shoulders down, length through the back. We don't want to be leaning back. You might need to bring it down a bit if it causes you to lean. And release. Palms away from you. Just closing your eyes. Inhale, nose. Exhale, mouth. Ha. Inhale, nose. Exhale, mouth. Ha. Inhale, nose. Exhale, mouth. Ha. And then finally, just shaking everything out. You can shake. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how it feels, how it looks. Just let it go. And fold forward. Just allowing yourself just to hang like a rag doll. Excellent. And then you can bend through the knees. You can maybe need to adjust your legs, finding a squat. So you're using your elbows to press out your legs. Now you can always roll up your mat any amount to bring them underneath your heels if they have a hard time going down to the ground. Or you can use a wall to press your back into it to help you to stay upright. So lots of options. Taking 3 breaths here. Excellent. When you're done, you can find a way down on the ground. Now, for everybody, just sitting from that might not work. So getting up, finding the way down, all good. We're going to bring the feet in to Baddha Konasana. So the feet, the soles of the feet together. We're opening the feet kind of like a book. We're reading a book here. Knees are coming down towards the ground. Now they might be a lot further up. All good. You're just listening to your body here. You're finding length through your back. Now while you're here, you might just choose to circle your head a little bit. See if there's anything that needs, any place where tension needs working out. For me, just bringing my head all the way back doesn't feel good. I feel too many crunches. So I prefer to go forward and round. But as with everything, we're all different. So listen to what feels good for you. And then if it helps you, if it works, you can walk forward. So long as you can maintain length through your back, right, and through your chest. If that doesn't work, you sit up, finding some alternative, trying to get length through your back here. Finding what works for you, breathing here, not judging yourself. Just noticing. Breathing. Excellent. And slowly coming on up. So we're going to come lying down here. So you can bring your feet onto the mat. We can just slowly, one vertebra at a time, just bring yourself down. Excellent. Feeling the ground beneath you, pressing the shoulders down, just letting go for a moment. Wonderful. So now we're going to bring the right knee, well, we can bring both knees in for the moment. We're going to play with just working this left side with our hips. We've been doing quite a lot of work with the hips today. So you can just kind of move from side to side with this leg. And you can stay here, or you can find that you like a figure of 4, that's fine. The other option here, and I think I'm going to have to turn around so you can see, let's just check. So you're going to take your foot, the left foot, and bring it into the elbow of your right hand, and then you're going to interlace the fingers behind your head. It may or may not work for you. So again, that right foot is coming into that crease of the left foot, crease of right elbow, fingers behind your head interlaced. So then you're just relaxing back, and maybe you need a bit more space, but maybe you relax through that right leg. So there's something interesting about this pose. I don't even know what it's called. Just breathing here. If you want to just add some fun, you can then bring some circles with that right leg. A bit of humour as well. I know it feels a little funny, I don't know why. There you go. Just one more circle. Excellent. And release. So it's the other side that we're going to come into. And always, there are loads of options. So you can start by bringing the right leg in and just moving it from side to side, just finding some openness in the hips. You can also, you can always bring that into circles. You can always find your figure of 4 and play with that. Or you can take the right foot, put it in the crease of that left elbow, and interlace your fingers behind your head, just relaxing back. So you're not really doing anything, the neck's not working here. And that left leg can lift, maybe. So from here, just finding those circles, if you would like, with that leg. And release. So we're just going to bring the feet hips width distance apart, and we're going to play with the variation of bridge pose that we did last class, which is bringing the upper arms, pressing them into the ground, fingertips up to the sky, and you're just pressing the hips up, but it helps you to open through the chest a little bit more. You're squeezing the knees towards each other as though there's a block there. You're pressing the shoulders and the upper arms into the ground, taking a couple of breaths here. And then slowly, you can either bring yourself down, or if you want to play with this pose, you can lift up one foot, one leg, and then you can play with the other one. Lifting up the hips, and slowly calming on down. Giving yourself a great big hug here. Unconditional hug. Having your back. So when your mind is saying something negative, finding that opposite, cultivating the opposite so that you can support yourself and that you can be there for yourself. You're going to take your knees and move them over to the right side. Left arm coming out to the left side. Finding your spinal twist. Any preference if you've got something else you like to do here, another way of expressing this pose, go for it. Inhale, calming through center. Big, another hug on the way through. And then you're going to open up the other direction. You can start going more inwardly if you like, closing your eyes if it feels good. Spinal twist. Calming through center. One final hug here. Make it count. And then reaching your legs out. Shoulders pressing down, palms pressing up to the sky. Finding your Shavasana. Completely allowing yourself to surrender, to let go. There is nothing you need to do here. And sometimes Shavasana can be uncomfortable. Some people really don't like to just pause or have nothing to do. In which case, if you can just lie with that discomfort, it's okay. Give yourself this gift. Finding a little bit of movement in your body. So wriggling fingers and toes, maybe circling wrists and ankles. And stretching the arms up overhead, finding length. And then bringing knees into chest one more time, giving yourself a squeeze. And rolling onto your right side, finding fetal pose. Maybe putting your right arm underneath your head. And noticing the support of the ground beneath you. Taking one breath there and pressing yourself up into a seated pose. You can use something to sit on if you need to, or just sitting on the ground. Kneeling, cross-legged, lotus pose, whatever works for you. Thumbs and index fingers touching, palms face up, sitting up your tallest selves with your eyes closed. Just pausing here. So part of the practice of pratipaksa, bhavana, cultivating opposites, is about finding some unity with ourselves and unity with others. So perhaps sitting just for a few moments in meditation in honor of perhaps unity in the world. Noticing if any thoughts come up. Notice what those thoughts are. See if they're not helpful. See if you can cultivate the opposite, or see if you can focus just on your breath. Bringing your attention back to each breath, each inhale, each exhale. And then bringing the hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching to both sides and all the way up. Hands touch at the top. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching out and up, sending thoughts of unity and peace in the world. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching out and up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Taking a moment to find some gratitude towards yourself for taking the time for your mind and for your body today. And perhaps also sending out some positive thoughts and vibes to the world. Bringing the hands up to the third eye center, between the eyebrows. Always a pleasure having you join me today and every day. Namaste.